Hi, Olavinjo. Can you see me or hear me?
Yes, I can see and hear you. How's it going?
All right. Thank you very much. It's going very well. I can't. I'm sure I can hear you. Oh, can see you now.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I can see and hear you now.
Okay, awesome, awesome. There seems to be something with the network, so your audio is kind of cracking a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure to speak audible and louder. I hope
I'm
that would
sorry?
work.
Hello?
I said I'm sure to speak more and louder. I hope that would work. Simple Books is an easy to use accounting tool designed for entrepreneurs to help them record, track, and grow their businesses on the go and from anywhere in the world. So, just to clarify, Simple Books is spelled Simple BKS but pronounced as Simple Books. My name is Osasoge. I'm the product marketing manager and I'll be your host today. So, before we proceed, let's just state some ground rules that would help just make sure everyone has a good time on this webinar. So please, during the webinar, just use the chat box just beneath your screen. That's where you can drop your questions, your feedback, and your comments, of course. And if you would like to drop a comment, question, or feedback, please include your name and your business. Also, um, all questions and comments would only be taken, only constructive comment, feedback, or questions will be taken, and those that are, of course, related to what we are discussing um, on this webinar. At the end of this webinar, we would also take questions from everyone listening, so we can, and that will be accommodated within the time frame. So, thank you once again for joining this webinar, and let's just get straight into it. So, as a business owner, we understand that closing a sale is really, really crucial to the growth of your and success of your business. So, of course, many business owners wonder if there is something specific that they need to do to increase their close rates. And in this session, we'll be discussing brand strategies to grow your business visibility with Olabinjo Adeniran. Our discussion today will focus majorly on business growth strategies, on how you can grow your business in summary. Just to give a brief introduction about Olabinjo. Olabinjo is a Nigerian technology professional with over 10 years of experience leading and managing marketing campaigns for African startups. He has consulted with some of Africa's most significant technology startups, including Andela, Hotels.ng, Buycoins, Caribou, to name a few. In 2019, he co-founded and led growth at Future Africa, turning it into Africa's most prolific venture capital fund. That's really interesting. The firm is notably known for its angel investor community, the Future Africa Collective, which invests alongside Future Africa. By Olabinjo's exit from the firm in February 2022, it had invested $6 million in over 60 startups. That is really huge. So, welcome, Olabinjo. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll go straight to the questions. Please remember, you can always drop your questions in the chat box. We'll take that as we move on. Okay, welcome Olabinjo. Thank you for joining us. So, going straight into this webinar, can you please share your experience with small businesses and what has made them successful?
Thank you so much. So just to summarize it is two things that make small businesses very successful. The first is creating, building or selling something that people want, that people need, and that people want to use, want to purchase, need for survival, need in their daily life, need to plan long term for their careers or their finances. And the second thing is now being able to design or make the product appealing to several groups of people, right? And also being able to market those products to those groups of people. Another thing I will say is properly engaging and having constant conversation with customers, figuring out if your actual business or product solves their problem, how well it solves their problem, and if there's any other, if they're not using your product today, what other products or businesses are they using to solve those problems. I think those things really help drive business success, especially because you're a bunch of businesses in Nigeria, small, and they're always looking for new customers. They're constantly trying to grow.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, what would you say are the stages or drivers of this business growth?
I think at the very, so maybe I should just give some timeline. At the very beginning is really about um, figuring out how many people need a particular product. Like if you go on the
Okay.
street and you see that, oh, people are thirsty, right? How many people in the state, in the country are thirsty, right? Before you even go on to buy water or import water or whatever, or buy a water filtering machine, how many people can
Yeah.
that have that need? How many people can the product solve? How
Okay.
many people can the product
That
solve, right? How
yeah.
many people's problems rather can the product solve? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right. Sorry,
Can you
please
hear me
just
now?
bear with us. Okay, yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay,
I
awesome.
can hear you.
Looks like there was a break there. So just
All
how
right.
many people can this problem solve? And then the second thing is now, going to build the product, right? It needs to be one, easy to use, two, it needs to be very convenient for people to access, and three, people need to know that it exists, right? Which then brings us back to
Okay.
which brings us to the third stage, which is marketing. And marketing is a very huge driver of business growth. Being able to meet the customer at their point of need, whether
Of
it's in the
need.
supermarket, whether it's when they are driving home, whether it's on the internet, being able to find the customers and cultivate that relationship with them so that they then begin to use your product. That's number three. And then number four is, expansion. So are you going to build, vertical or horizontal business lines around the business? That could be new features of the product. It could be new flavors of something that is physical. It can be new colors, new types, new styles. It can also be expanding to other countries or other cities, right? So maybe it's a Nigerian business and it's operated for a while. The next logical step, after having some success in Nigeria, is what other countries around the world or even in Africa are very similar to Nigeria. So you can go launch your business there. Those are the four things that drive business growth.
All right. Thank you very much. Please don't forget you can always drop your questions in, and I'll be sure to take them as we move. Jo, thank you very much for sharing. I would also say, when a business, for instance, is starting, we understand how important it is to brand products, right? We've seen people taking specific colors or just really want to get a tagline that sticks. Just really in that sense, and people call it branding. So can you just really explain? I would say I know branding just goes deeper than the colors for your product or the
Yeah.
tagline you use or your logo. So can you please just give us insight of what branding really is?
Yeah, so branding in summary is basically the things about your product um that makes it different, right? That makes it very different. So
Okay.
it can even be the core. Can you hear me? It can be the core product
Yes, I
itself.
can hear you
It can
clearly.
be
I
how
can
it's
hear you clearly.
designed. It can be the tagline. It can be the marketing. But the job of branding is that if somebody went into a supermarket and they saw four different products and one of them was your product, they'll be able to easily identify your product, right? because you have marketed certain colors, certain expectations to them. And that's summary of what branding is. But then, like you mentioned earlier, it goes deeper, right? It can be, how do you make people, how does your product make people feel, right? So for example, I have a particular shoe that is a Nike shoe. Whenever I wear that shoe, it feels like the soles of the shoe are soft, right? But whenever I wear another shoe that is Skechers, it feels much more comfortable and much softer. So that's like, you know, Nike is a shoe brand, Skechers is a shoe brand, but there are certain things about the product itself that make them completely different things. That's one way that branding can help people stand out, right? And then we go to another layer where it's like colors, the logo, the visual identity, the type of images the brand uses to communicate, the way the brand uses words in marketing, maybe on Twitter or in an email newsletter or in an
Okay.
advert. Those are the things that go into encompassing a brand. So it can be very physical, like I mentioned, how the product looks and is designed, and then it can be, much more abstract in the way the logo, the visual, the communication style. Those two things really come together, to build a brand.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much for sharing. Um, just notes, just like a summary of what you said, the branding is also about emotion. Is also about, there's also an emotional feeling that customers can get from using a brand or a product, and that's really important to me also as a person. I like to connect to brands emotionally. It's not just on a surface level. Okay, so as a small business owner, if a small business owner were to start, say, want to start creating a product, what would you advise them on their branding strategy, or what general advice would you give to a small business that wants to implement incorporate
Yes,
branding?
sure.
Sorry.
I will start by saying that it really depends on the type of product and the industry you're operating in. But one thing that I do always is I do a lot of research on, all of the possible businesses that exist today at in that sector or
Industry.
space, right? I want to know what's happening, what are people doing. If I see certain things that are particular with maybe logo styles, I want to know why. If I see that maybe the people in that sector are not advertising, I want to know why. Is there some legal requirements? Are they
Okay.
banned in the country from advertising? Certain products might be banned. Those are like the first two things you want to know. Just do a lot of research on what's happening in those sectors, right? And then the next thing is to have a brand. What's the word I want to use now? I will say a brand vision. And what that basically does is, what do you want to see? Like, what do you want people to feel when they see your product or when they hear about your business? And it helps to have a document to write these things down. It can be, we want people to think that we are very serious people, right? Maybe like you're an asset manager firm or you're an investment firm, you want to be very serious. It can be,
Yeah.
we want people to think that we are fun. Maybe the product you have is entertainment and media, like Netflix or something, right? Those things really help to define what you want to do. And then from there, obviously, when you have these things written down, whenever you're creating a copy or an image or an advert, you want to review that marketing assets and compare it to what you have written down as your brand feeling and your brand guideline, and see if they match. So if somebody goes create something for you and it's not funny, right? You want to say, how can we make this funnier? How can we make this more relatable if you have
Okay.
funny and relatable in your brand guideline? I think that's like the very first step,
Brand.
and that really helps to get things going.
Okay. So can we also say brand can also come from the business story, like from the business story?
Yes, so definitely, you mean like the story of how the people developed the business, right? Is
Okay.
that what you mean?
All right. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I mean. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Thank you. So just moving on. We don't have any questions at the moment, so I'm guessing everyone understands everything. And they're taking notes. So just moving on at the moment. What are some strategies business owners need to implement to scale their business growth? I know, of course, people would always say, "Oh, they don't have enough budget for marketing their small business. They can't really pump in so much money into marketing like businesses on a larger scale do." But what are some strategies you would advise small business to implement?
Yeah, so two things. I think one thing many people do is underestimate the impact of their, their what's the word, their network or their relationships with
Okay.
people that they already know, their friends and family. So I think one thing that really helps is to be able to reach out to your close friends, families, colleagues, and say, this I've launched something, this is what I'm doing. I would appreciate if you can tell your friends. I appreciate if you sign up. That's like the very first step. And then the second thing is leveraging the internet. I think many small businesses don't leverage internet properly. And
Yes.
like the internet has completely transformed how business owners can reach people. I remember reading a story this year about some guy who sells chicken and chips near my house, right? And he had basically posted how he started his business during lockdown and how well it's grown. And the entire business has grown off like Twitter. It was just basically him tweeting his pictures about his
Yeah,
food
Twitter has
and
really
encouraging
been
people to order,
helpful.
right? And so being able to leverage the internet, being able to, share what you're doing, take good images. It doesn't have to be something very deep, but like you have to be able to put your business out there. People need to be able to know that, oh, there's somebody in their area that they can order something from, right? And then
This
I
phone.
would go further and say having very good customer engagement and customer support, being polite to people. Mistakes happen, owning up to mistakes when they happen, taking responsibility,
Being
you
able
know
to communicate.
communicate clearly to customers. Is something going to be delivered late? Let the customer know. Is something going to be delivered earlier than usual? Let the customer know. I think those are like three things that really help small businesses grow. And the fourth thing I will say is keeping proper financial records, keeping proper books, and I think your software helps them do that. Keeping proper records, separating the individual from the business entity. Because the truth is, you never know where your business is going to go, right? In the next year, maybe somebody wants to invest in it, somebody wants to buy your business outright. There can be an opportunity for you to even make more money, right? So just having clear records of how much you're expensing, how much you're coming in, if you have a suite of products, you have different things. Which one is selling the most? Which one is not selling the most? Those things are very important. If you know something is not moving well, you might want to stop. Right? It might be something you actually enjoy doing, but you
Yeah.
might want to stop and try to test out some other new product lines. Right? Those are things that are very important. And I think, yeah, those are just a few things that business owners can use to grow their businesses.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, thank you. So I'm also guessing some of the tools that can be used for this would be obviously social media, and
Yes.
we tend to advise business owners a lot to also leverage free tools. I mean, there are free tools they can use like Canva, just
Yeah.
general platforms,
There's
sorry,
Canva
general
for
softwares.
images. There's Buffer for scheduling social media posts. There are a couple of other tools out there as well. I like Buffer because it's very easy to use. There's Hootsuite. Then if you want to do advertising, you have to use the Instagram ads has a very simple way of starting ads right on your phone. You don't have to download anything extra. Um,
Oh yeah, the meta.
which can help you reach users. And you can even just say, oh, I want to only reach people in Lagos. I want to only reach people in Surulere. If your business is in Surulere, I want to only reach people in Port Harcourt. Those are things that really help, that can really help drive, business growth. And they're very simple tools to use.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Questions. We're taking questions. Please share your questions. I'm sure Olabinjo will be very glad to answer them. Okay, so before we round up, just one like a couple just like before we round up, sorry. I know, so I mean businesses implement all of this, and one thing I've come to understand is within say the first and the second month, businesses get scared. So I mean they're getting, say the sales are shaky, or they are not getting as much as they planned. How would you advise what or how would you advise businesses to measure their growth? And even if in the first month or second month it's not going well, what kind of projection would you have advised business owners to have business?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that it really depends on your type of business. There are businesses where you have to build a track record over time before you begin to see huge success, right? And there are businesses where you're interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, so you can know whether it's going to move or not. And then it becomes up
or
to you
not.
to decide, like, is this something where I have to build a strong reputation before it becomes successful? So I need to be patient, or is it something that I need to, it's supposed to be an instant type of business, right? That it's supposed to be moving from day one or day two or month two, right? Um, if you study your business very well, you would know. If you study other businesses in the same sector, right, you would also be able to know that, oh, this person started their business in maybe 2018, but it didn't really start doing well until late 2019, right? Which means you have to be very patient. You have to take your time. You have to be able to plan properly. You have to be able to manage expenses so that you don't die before you build a strong reputation. I hope that was
Oh,
helpful.
all right. Thank you. Yes, that works perfectly. Uh, Lastly, advice for business owners on taking it slow. I mean, we at Simple Books we work with telling them about bookkeeping, accounting, but what from a marketing or from marketing perspective, what would be your advice to business owners just generally?
Who want to take things slow or
No, who want to scale their business? I
okay, for
know
business owners who want to
businesses
create their
tend to
business?
see want to take
Yeah.
it. Yes, but
Yeah, you want to be able to find one or two what we call marketing channels that really work for your business. There are often a lot of options. Like today, there's so many social media apps and there's so many ways to market your business. But it really helps to be really good at one or two channels. I know that these are channels I'm good at. The channels that you can easily manage as your business grows. Because one of the things that tends to happen is many people are trying marketing in so many different places. They are unable to keep up and they're unable to now measure or track success. So I would say, one thing to do is really hone on where your customers are coming from and just like heavily focus your attention towards it. Heavily build
yeah.
out that channel, reputation and brand on that channel, and just grow from there. Right. That's very important advice.
All right. Thank you very much. So, this session has been very helpful because we do not have questions from the end. So, I am
Okay.
going to understand. And if we do have questions, probably from comment section when we post this, I will be sure to answer Olabinjo and forward them to our other questions. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you have enjoyed this webinar as much as we did. And this webinar will also be available on all of our social media platforms, including YouTube. So be sure to follow us. Olabinjo, I'd like to say a very, very big thank you to you for taking
You
our
are
time to do
welcome.
this with us.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very, very much. So, thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Hope to see you next week as well. All right. Enjoy
Have a
your day
wonderful
and
weekend.
weekend.
Bye bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Ooh.